I probably have Asperger syndrome, which is like typical for those slightly eccentric geniuses. I mean, not that everybody would be super clever. I'm not a genius. Those are people who are very much focused and concentrated on one thing, on their hobby. They often have some unusual hobbies like chess, mathematics, or like this.
This video, dear friends, is an interview with a very special individual in the world of chess, David Navara. We visited his home in Prague, Czech Republic. After the interview that we did with Harikrishna, that is already published on our channel and which you can find, Hari actually took us to a bus station nearby, and then we took a bus and we traveled to the home of David. This was an interview that I wanted to do from quite some time. I'll tell you the reasons about it. By the way, this was the bus in which we traveled, and David lives on the outskirts of Prague. So it took us quite some time, but when we entered his home, his mother had prepared a few delicacies for us. The reason why I wanted to interview David at his home is because he's an absolute chess legend. He is 13 times Czech champion, and he's also had a peak rating of 2751. Which makes him one of those rare players in the world of chess to have crossed 2750. I wanted to know more about him, the way he thinks, the way he sees chess, and the way he sees the world. And this interview does just that.
Some partially organized disorder here.
Okay.
I mean, as for the books here, it's more like books which I would like to read, or sometimes even books which I don't want to read so much, but basically, as for chess books, I have quite many of them here. I'm not really collecting them, so it's not like this, and basically they are in 3 rows. There is 1 row, behind them there is another one, and yet behind them there is a third one, so it's a bit chaotic. And I have some more books, of course.
Wow.
It's not like here.
And you have read them?
I have read most of them.
Wow.
There are some New in Chess magazines and Shach-Info Czech magazine and like this, and also in the other room, and basically I still have some more New in Chess magazines elsewhere, but here I still have quite some chess books and magazines. Okay, this is some photo, not chess related, I just needed to put it somewhere. So
wow, so many books.
Yes,
yeah?
Some are in, most often they are in Czech language or English or Russian. I have many Russian books because I'm fluent in Russian, and also Russian books are cheaper than English books, so it's for practical reasons sometimes. But
how did you learn Russian? Like, this is...
I mean, it was combined, because when I was like 9 or 10, there was some chess school for young talented players, and there were some players from the former Soviet Union and some Czech players. It lasted like 1 week or like this, so I got into contact with the language. I tried to learn some words, and like this I tried to read something, but without so much success. I mean, I was not really so much focused on it. I was not really so much interested in languages back then, but okay, I learned something, and then at the secondary school we needed to add a second foreign language when I was 15, which is normal age when one finishes the obligatory primary education and goes to secondary school, and I needed a second foreign language, so 1/2 of the class went for German, 1/4 for Russian, and 1/4 for French. And basically really many people wanted to choose German, to select German. I also, after talking to my parents, I also wanted to select German, although I would take Russian is equally well, but okay, German was no longer available, so I took Russian. Basically I was happy with it, but some other people were less happy and were not so much interested in the language, whereas for me it was I was motivated because for chess it was quite important. I mean, back then Russia, or maybe also with other countries of Soviet Union, was one of the leading chess country, and also many other countries of the former Soviet Union were very strong. They are even now very strong in chess. So it's it was even more important than. Now there are so many Indian players, but no to one language. It's Hindi, Telugu, Tamil. I don't know. I don't speak them, any of them. But
But you always greet us in an Indian
just
way.
Namaste. But I don't really speak anything. Maybe I could try to learn something, but now I'm no longer that learning that fast. I'm busy sometimes and not really organized, so it's like maybe I should, but I'm not a big traveler, frankly speaking, because I forget my belongings somewhere and get a bit tired when the journey is long. So it's like this. So I basically became very much interested in languages when at the age of 15. Until then I was not really good even in English, and I discovered that I had some talent, and I started to spend more time on languages, and basically I started to study systematically at the age of 15, because just talent was not enough anymore. And it also helped my chess, because I also became a bit more systematic. Although if you will see my room, it's very chaotic. It's a partially ordered chaos.
It's a beautifully kept room, actually.
Yeah.
I find these books that you have so interesting, and to become a top player these days, not many players read books, but you seem to be someone who's kind of brought up on books.
Yes, I was brought up on books, although also on computers, but they were quite weak back then. But I read really a lot when I was really young, and it influenced me a lot. But nowadays I became lazier, so when you see those books, it's good to add that I have not really read many of them. I want to read some of them, but I'm not very organized. So I continue reading. I am reading, but maybe more during my journeys than at home, because I can walk to the forest. I have some housework sometimes, like shopping and something in the garden and watering plants and like this. And I also play a lot of online chess.
Yeah. Is this where you play online?
It is mostly where
because
I play online.
I can see the
Yes.
chair here. It's
Yes,
the Champions Chess Tour.
Yes, I got the chair for free. Okay, I played many tournaments, and in most of them I have not won anything. So it was like I played for free and get free and got chair for free. But I actually won some nice money in the Champion Chess Tour. But okay, I play from here. A friend I bought from a friend some special, I don't know how to call it, device which allows me to use internet here through the socket. Although the router is downstairs, and normally here the signal would be quite
Very
weak. But sometimes I forget to turn on the.
Oh my god.
To turn it on, so I'm using the signal from.
Then you might have some lag.
Yes, yes. If I sit here and don't use that device, I get some lag or temporary disconnections. The problem is that the rooms which have the best signal are also the most used rooms, where it's the least silent. So if I put this into the computer, I have good connection.
Oh, okay.
A friend
Got it.
bought it and I paid for it.
Wow.
So this is what helps me to play from here. And actually, in the period when I had my best results in Titled Tuesdays, I just became more serious and cleaned the table. Okay, not that I would clean it altogether completely, but I just put the things elsewhere, cleaned up a bit, and removed other things to the next room. And I was sitting here before the games. I was motivating myself, like saying confidently and with enthusiasm. I even did like something like fast, strong. I don't know what was third, calm and with enthusiasm. And once I did it here, hitting this.
Oh my God!
Like, I'm not very talented at some housework. I mean, I'm not completely lazy, but not really skilled. So my father is much more technically skilled, so he somehow corrected it here. But I mean, my mother is much better at those things like cooking and like washing up. And I mean, if I have to, I can do something, but not not very skillfully like this.
But David, you showed us this. My eyes went to those trophies there.
Actually, I have many more of them downstairs. Yeah, I have not shown you that room yet, but this is just second group, and actually I even gave some less important trophies to my primary school and somewhere, and some of them even for recycling, especially medals which don't have a tag from where they are, because then there would be too many of them. I have medals somewhere.
You won so much.
Yes,
Which one is your favorite trophy? Like, is it here or is it downstairs?
I think maybe it is even here. Those are newer ones. I think this is not bad, but I don't remember. Oh, no, it is not the one.
Oh, it's quite a big one.
Yes, I think there is some from European Blitz Championship 2024, some of the big ones behind, but I don't really know. If you want to, I can show you trophies downstairs also.
Sure.
Trophies
are good memories, right?
Yes.
Like it reminds you of all your...
Okay, no problem. Just say it's better not to leave it open for too long. In some panel houses it doesn't matter because the temperature is the same everywhere, but here, yes, this is what I like. And
oh wow!
I also have those 5 horses from the tournament, which is called like Horsey of Ostrava. Ostrava being the third biggest city in the Czech Republic. It was Czech individual championship in those years. So I have those famous...
You actually have won Czech title, national title 13 times, is that correct? The classical one.
Yes, it's true.
Wow.
And like 10 times in Blitz. There was a period when I was more often winning it than not. Nowadays it's more difficult because I have good tournaments when I am winning and I have bad tournaments when I end up terribly. So it's not so easy.
But sometimes, players stop playing in their national events because, once they become strong, but you continued playing always.
Yeah, not always. Actually, during my university studies, I also took a break, like for 4 days, 4 years. Actually, some of them I just received as a present here and have not won. So this is just from some prize ceremony at some event where I was present, and this I received from a chess enthusiast, the Wooden King, and also one of those two, this horse kissing the fish. I mean, those are two, but the horse was a present, I think. Wow. I just combined it like this. So
there are so many books here as well, but no chess books.
No chess books, and actually we have so many books even downstairs in some inadequate conditions, and basically there are also books, there are some language, some dictionaries and like this. It's like that there are many books from my parents, many books from the grandparents, and actually we have sold like I don't know, plenty of books really, because books were everywhere, especially in my grandparents' flat. There were many nice books, but when they are everywhere, it's getting less nice.
True. And also this outside is beautiful, like the garden you have. Do you spend time often here?
I mean, I also spent time in the garden, but not as happily as my mother, who really enjoys it. And I mean, I help also, but when there is a lot of work, I help. But first of all, I also spent plenty of time playing tournaments, spent a lot of time outside. And then I'm maybe not so skilled, and I mean, I can when it's needed. I do spend time there, but it's not so much my hobby. It's like.
But it's beautiful, this
Yes.
place, and I think your
Yes.
father is right now working on
Yes.
cutting stuff.
Yes,
Your
he
mother is also working.
Yes, my father is very skilled in all those practical tasks. It's not so common for a mathematician.
Yeah, he's a mathematician,
Yes, yes.
and your mother is a dentist.
Yes, yes.
And still, like, they are very good at
Yes,
this.
like pedostomatologist. She is okay. This
Oh,
was not
sorry.
okay. It's okay. Hopefully, it's fine. It will survive. No, yes, it has to. So, yes.
David, I have a very important question for
Yes.
you. What does chess mean to you?
Many things, basically. It's my profession, my hobby, my way of self-fulfillment. I have many friends in the chess world. I can go to many countries, travel a lot. I mean, I have spent so much time in chess, so it means quite a lot to me. It's quite a lot, but I mean, it's not everything. It's not that I would be focused on chess and nothing else. And I am trying to keep contacts with friends outside chess also, and like this. But I mean, nowadays it's harder for me because my results are not so great, and my games are not so interesting as before, but I think it can also change a bit in a positive way. Okay, in terms of results it's hard because the new generations are coming, and it's hard to keep up with young and aspiring players, but I'm trying.
You are very realistic about things, yeah? You are not
Yes, I mean...
optimistic nor pessimistic. You're just saying what it feels
Yes,
like.
I think I'm realistic in this, and also I was born in the 1990s. I mean, the previous socialist regime fell in 1989, and to a large extent for economic problems, and the transformation was tough. I mean, people were often enthusiastic in 1990s, some got disappointed, but basically the standards of living were growing up, but not for everybody. And in 1990s, the country was relatively poor to compare to Western Europe or even to some other countries. But okay, I was born, or I was growing up in relatively modest times. Okay, times have changed, but I'm not the most ambitious person, and also I'm not living in such a big country, so there are big chess traditions, there are great chess trainers, there are quite some strong players, but basically I did not need to study chess all the time to win the championship in my age category or like this, and I did not need to study chess all the time to get to the chess Olympiad. I mean, I was spending a lot of time on chess, but because I loved chess, I still like chess very much. And like this, it was not like sacrifice, it was like my decision, my will, and my parents have been supporting me. And I also was lucky with trainers, that I had quite good trainers in each period of my childhood.
Could you tell us a bit about your trainers, like who made a deep impression on you, and also who helped you to reach where you are?
Yes, it will be long. I started in chess club Bohemians Prague. Okay, we write it Bohemians, but of course it's an English name, and a colleague of my father recommended him or this club for me, because back then, okay, this is for children here, so maybe I should say it elsewhere, those pillows, but I mean for my step siblings. back then this club was caring about the young players very, very well, better than most of the clubs. I mean, now they are also caring, but back then there were many strong players, and I had an old trainer called Zdeněk Müller, and he was like a first category player, which means that probably earlier on he had something like what would be rating 1900. Okay, back then the ratings were differently, so it doesn't tell anything. But I mean, not a bad player, not super strong player. He was already retired, but he was very talented as a teacher. I mean, he was giving us some puzzles, let us play. He has shown us some classical games, but he was kind and empathic, and there were like 8 people. It was from moderately advanced players. There was also a course for beginners, but I was there only one time, and they realized that I didn't belong there. So I went to this club, and out of those 8 players who were there back then, 1 became a grandmaster and 2 became international masters, which is like incredible. So I was lucky already then. Then Mr. Antonín Ambrož was training me in the club. His brother Jan became an international master. And I heard that Mr. Antonín Ambrož also trained Taiwan Nguyen in his youth. I did not even know that. I had not even known this before, because Taiwan Nguyen then had other trainers, mainly international master Sergei Berezyuk, but I was also training him. And also later other trainers. He cooperated with Grandmaster Chuchelov, for example. But okay, I wanted to say something else. So then Mr. Miroslav Vanka, who is FIDE master, and he also solves studies and other chess puzzles like this, and he's active until now. I mean, he is probably already in his early 80s, but active, solving studies and healthy lifestyle and like this. So he learned me quite something about endgames, and also around the age of 10, between 9 and I don't know, 11, I had some lessons with Grandmaster Luděk Pachman, a legendary Grandmaster.
The static balance, right?
Not sure, but strategy of modern chess, tactics of modern chess, and like this, plenty of books. I have like 15 books of him, and maybe I have read like 20 of them, or almost 20. So I learned a lot from his books. He was very linguistically talented and writing a lot, and really hardworking, and quite an interesting personality. I learned a lot from him, maybe in chess terms more from his books than from him personally, because we did not have so many trainings, because he was mostly living in Germany and partially living in the Czech Republic then, but I learned a lot from him. He influenced me a lot, and at the age of 11 or like this, I switched clubs, and International Master Josef Přibyl became my main trainer, and I made a big progress, at least for standards of that period, big and fast progress, in a few years, from candidate master to international master, and he learned me quite a lot about endgames, about Greenfeld Indian defense, about strategy, and about chess in general. And then I switched clubs again, and started to train with Grandmaster Vlastimil Jansa. Who, I mean, we had some trainings even before. Feel free to sit there. He is mostly a specialist in strategy and openings. He wrote dynamic strategy, or I don't know how is it called in English, probably slightly different. But I mean, he learned me to understand many things in Ruy Lopez, in Greenfeld Indian defense. So it was not so much about remembering concrete lines, but about remembering some lines and understanding where the bishop is good on b7 in Ruy Lopez and when not, and like this. And it helped me a lot because I had been weak at this back then. I also cooperated with international master Michal Konopka, who was my second in some events, and he was the Czech team captain for many years.
You know, I was once preparing a line in the Catalan.
Yes.
This where you play d4, queen c2, a6, queen takes c4, b5, queen c2, bishop b7.
Yes.
And then Konopka used to always play bishop g5 and then take on a knight d2 and play on the c5 square. So I learned a lot from his games.
Yes, he has also shown me some ideas there. And I mean, back then it was not so easy to equalize there with black.
But now it's easy.
Yes, now, okay, now the computers are much stronger and there's much more theory. And I also cooperated like this with Slovak Grandmaster Igor Stoll. That he was not my trainer, but he was my second at various important events, also including the very recent Prague Masters, because I mean, mostly I'm preparing on my own nowadays, but sometimes when I have a busy period with several important events like this, it makes sense to make an agreement with someone. Grandmaster Igor Stoll has a very good understanding of chess and knows a lot about opening theory and like this, and not only about opening theory, but I mean, he reached 2600 when it meant a lot. Before inflation, okay, now there has been some deflation, but earlier there was quite some inflation. So like this, but he was not a player who would like to fight and who would be super happy to play long, complicated games. So he mainly switched to training and to writing because he's quite good at both. Nowadays he has many quick draws, and when he was my trainer before Prague Masters 2022, where I surprisingly made 9 draws, one Slovak Grandmaster was joking, so now I understand that when Igor Stoll was your second, that you had 9 draws. I mean, he helped me with preparation a lot, but somehow I started to play more solidly. I was also joking about the draw death of chess predicted by Capablanca, because the Don Giovanni Hotel where we were playing is quite nice. I like the place, the venue a lot. There is just one specific thing, that the nearest green areas are like 5 cemeteries. So I was walking there and joking that I contained some virus of draw death of chess there, probably, because since then I have many more draws in those strong round robin tournaments. But it's also true that I had been playing very fighting chess earlier, but mostly I was playing against lower rated players who also did not know the theory so much, so I was getting very good positions with white, not only with white sometimes, and I was taking more risks and mostly getting away with it, sometimes not. But when I was playing some top event without the adequate preparation, and I was mostly not adequately prepared, it usually did not end too well, like -2, -4, and like this. So when I'm nowadays drawing so many games, it's actually sort of improvement in some way, although I like to play interesting chess. But okay, in Rapid, in Blitz, I play a lot of interesting chess. In Fischer Random Chess, I play interesting games. In open tournaments, which I normally don't play so often, or like this. And I also play, even in league matches, I also play a lot of interesting chess, but just nowadays there is more theory, and I'm trying to be more solid with black, and I don't know basically what to add to it.
Yeah, this is amazing what you have just said, like about all your trainers and so on. I also wanted to ask you, like, you've played so many beautiful games in your chess life. Is there any particular game or games that you are proud of?
There are quite some of them. For example, Cheparinov-Navara from European Team Championship 2007 when Ivan
Queen takes
Cheparinov was
F2.
close to 2700 and like almost top 20 in the world, and I sacrificed a queen.
Queen takes F2,
yes,
right?
Exactly. It was not exactly forced, it was not completely clear, there were made some mistakes, but altogether the level of play was high and it was quite dramatic, attractive game. This game against Wojtaszek from Biel 2015 is specific. Basically,
I know this, that everyone loves it, but I think you are not very, very proud of it, right? Or you are?
I am sort of, basically, I later learned that it was losing, but I mean, it was an interesting game, very interesting, very special, but I was proud of it, but not maybe as much. After all, I was proud that I, with my very small laptop, Wijk Elo laptop, I managed to sort of slightly out-prepare Wojtaszek, who is a great theoretician, quite a strong player, but basically that's the most specific.
But I don't think
about taking marks.
you didn't out-prepare him, right? You kind of outplayed him by getting your king there.
Yes, I mean, I got
over the board.
I got like extra 40 minutes and at some point better position, but it was a big fight and he made the last mistake. So like this, but okay, I like my victory over Ding Liren, or Ding Liren as many people pronounce him, from Shamkir to, I think it was 2019 or 18, something like that. 17, and my victory against Levon Aronian from Wijk Aan Zee 2012, when I finished shared last. I played a bad tournament, but it was one great game. I won several nice games against Fabiano Caruana. And recently I played a very nice game against Navara-Finek, the young Czech player, very talented, and it was in Czech Championship 2024.
Oh.
I liked the game quite a lot. I was not exactly in a must-win situation, but in a near must-win situation with White, and I have shown some very creative play, some really strong play. Of course, there were some mistakes, but not too big mistakes, and it was a really nice game. I mean, it could have been even nicer, the final, but I liked the game a lot.
Wow, those were some incredible games. I would love to go back and look at them, because
Yes.
I think there will be a lot to learn from them.
Yes, maybe, but okay, I tend to speak a bit too long about my games. And also, I forgot to mention when speaking about trainers and seconds and like this, that I cooperated with Pentala Harikrishna for many years.
Whom we just met before coming to meet you.
Since 2012 or 2013, and it gave a lot to both of us. I mean, in terms of theory, I learned more from him than he from me, but I mean, we both learned from each other, and we are teammates and good friends. I mean, it's true that we were meeting and playing or studying chess more often until 2020, because then the pandemic came, and then Harry moved also away to the Prague suburbs, and now he moved again a bit closer, so maybe we can meet again. But I mean, I am busy playing, he has a child, and also he's busy training or playing, so it's not as easy to find fitting time as it was before.
But Hari had such good things to say about you. He
you.
was like, he really enjoyed his time working with you.
It's very nice to hear this. I also enjoy the time spent with him, both working on chess and playing for the same team.
And David, we see a book here. I believe that you have also gotten into writing books. Yes, this is one of them. I also saw another book upstairs. It's called The Uncompromising Play.
Yes, I actually wrote like...
Could we go and check
yes,
that as well? Yeah.
Basically, all my main trainers, like Grandmaster Luděk Pachman, International Master Josef Biel, Grandmaster Vlastimil Jansa, were writing a lot they were all trainers and show a lot of their games and mostly games which they won, but also their losses, and because they had analyzed those games deeply. So it's this one. Basically, this is yes. I have two copies of it. So it's like this, and I mean
it's your games annotated by you.
Yes, and I think this one was written to have some instructional value, which is not always easily derived from my games. Okay, okay, thank you. I also have some losses here, so it's not like that I would like to make my own monument or like this. I want to teach chess on my books, on my games, sorry. And
there is a lot of analysis also, but a lot of text also.
Yes, a lot of text.
So beautiful.
And there are some
tips.
Yes, pieces of advice. There are like 10 or maybe more chapters on various topics connected to uncompromising chess. Some more topics could be missing, like positional sacrifices, but I used to be really greedy. Now I'm less greedy, but still not sacrificing positionally so often that I would make a topic of it probably. So it's spread in other topics. And this superior strategy doesn't mean that I would be a superior strategist. It just means that even I am able to play some nice strategic games sometimes, and my opponents are able to play them. So I like the book quite a lot, but basically there is quite some story about it, because I first during the pandemic I was when there was the lockdown or curfew, I was finishing work on removing some mistakes from my previous book, My Chess World, and okay, I removed a lot of mistakes before the publication, and I was also a minor co-author of this book, The Secret Ingredient.
Yes.
I mean, Jan Markos writes better, and so he wrote a majority of the book, but I shared my insights. I'm a stronger player, so it also helped the book. So I call myself a minor co-author, but it was also an important contribution, and I also managed to remove some mistakes from the Czech version, because there were some grammar mistakes, some factual mistakes and like this, and I'm quite good at spotting mistakes. So I was collaborating with two other proofreaders. One of them was one of the tournament arbiters, international master Petr Buchníček, by the way. And basically after the work on those two books was finished and the pandemic was not completely over, I thought it could be a good idea to write something more. So I mean, Jan Markos gave me some idea, but basically I had to write myself. He suggested the structure which was good, but it was not my structure, and I'm not the most structured person. So I was proceeding like from the second half of 2020 till the beginning of 2021, but the pandemic Czech Republic was not hit very badly in early 2020, but since September 2020 till like May or June 2021, it was really bad, with many victims and like this, really bad. And I got like depressed at some point and stopped working on the book. And I mean, I was like moving quickly forward, but then I stopped and I could not move forward almost at all, because once I took some break and I was like giving lectures, playing hybrid chess, playing online chess, then playing over the board again, I became busy. And I just could not move further because the structure was so abstruse. I mean, it was hard for me to spread the games into to give them some structure and like this. So I sort of stopped for 3 years. Eventually, I managed to motivate myself at the beginning of 2024 and eventually finished the book anyway. But I mean, the publisher had quite some patience with me. I mean, if I had written it in time, it would have been financially better for me, but I'm happy that the book eventually appeared. I managed to find some mistakes and remove them also during proofreading.
Nice.
Right after some tournament. So I'm happy that it appeared, and I believe it to be good actually. I have some nice reviews from friends, not like that they would write them, but that they told me that they liked the book, and maybe they had also some good suggestions what could still be improved, but I mean generally I think it's a good work.
And David, from all the books that you have read in your life, does any book stand out for you as one of your favorites?
I mean,
your
from
favorite?
chess books,
Yes.
Mark Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual.
It's here.
It's not here.
This one.
Yes, it's here actually. I mean, this version is basically unused. This is 5th edition, and I started with 2nd edition. I also have 4th edition somewhere, so I bought 5th edition, which is slightly better. But I will not pretend that I had read 5th edition so much, basically.
Okay, it must be like small editions, right? It wouldn't be too many things. Many of the things would be the same.
Yes, this is a bigger one. There is also a smaller one, but I mean it's very nicely structured. There are those examples, tragicomedies, which are easier to remember and which help you to feel better if you make mistakes, because you will learn that even the best players make mistakes. And I like the book quite a lot. Of course, some minor things can still be improved, but Mr. Dvoretsky was great in collecting material, in writing it methodically somehow, so that it was interesting, and it was like there are almost all the most important endgame positions and some typical plans and like this.
Got it.
And of course something is also missing, but he did a great work on this. He wrote many books, but actually some of them are too complex even for me. Even were too complex for me even when I was 2700 player and calculating better than nowadays. I mean, it helps a lot when you really try hard to solve such examples, when you like sit against the trainer, get your 30 or 50 minutes, and you play some sharp
You've
positions.
done that.
You play some sharp position to learn this, because then there is a higher chance that you will manage this over the board. But okay, with years I became lazier, but when I played against Sam Shankland recently, and I fell into his preparation in some sharp line, which
Yes.
I had seen before but did not really remember. I recalled those lectures with Mr. Dvoretsky. I mean, I was not his trainee, but we had some like 6 short sessions altogether, like 20 days. I calculated it, so I learned something from him, and I read many of his books. So,
Wonderful.
So I forgot to mention him when speaking about
Yeah,
trainers. I
yes.
mean, he was not my trainer, but I learned very
Lot
much.
from
Learned a lot from his books and also from him personally, and so.
Amazing. You know, David, one thing that I've noticed, that whenever I interact with you and whenever I've seen you interacting with others, that you are like an oasis of truth. Like, no one worries that what you are saying might be a lie or you are hiding something. It's always what you feel, you speak.
Yes, basically this is like this. Of course, I mean, from time to time I lie, and mostly not like to get something big or like this, but I mean, sometimes you can imagine situation when you are pushed into the corner, when someone asks you I mean something unpleasant, and I mean it's not always easy to stay silent. I remember some such cases. I mean, not from the near past, but from older years. But basically, I'm speaking most of the time truth. I'm also trying like this, and I mean, I have really some bad aspects of my personality, but they are different, and I tend to be quite impulsive sometimes, and that's why my parents advised me not to drive a car. Actually, in Prague, the public transport is quite good.
Yes.
Also in the whole Czech Republic, but sometimes it is a bit of a limitation. Luckily, I have many friends in the chess world who can help me to drive me somewhere when needed, and when we are going to some league. But
where I was coming to was that you might be let's say you said you lie or something, but it might be on your fingers, we can very few times, but like the world does not function that way. Many people hide things.
Yes.
They don't say the truth.
Yes.
Does that affect you? Does that, or how do you sort of look at it?
Sometimes it affects me, but basically I'm quite lucky with my friends that I know many great people, and like this I have great parents, and like this had great trainers. So I'm lucky that there are many things in the world which are not really nice, and of course I had seen some of them. I am not I don't close my eyes. I'm not only looking at the chessboard, but basically I'm lucky that I spent most of the time with people who I like, who are friendly and like this. So that's it, and basically what I wanted to add, it would take me some time to recall when I was lying, like just to get some legitimate advantage, because I sometimes like to look better, but I don't do it often. Basically, I like when people like me how I am, because if I tried to pretend that I'm someone else, someone better, maybe it would turn against me, and like this. So that's it, and I don't have so much to hide also.
Yeah.
So that's it. And sometimes I admit that I might tell those white lies to make people feel better, just not to hurt their feelings sometimes, but not often. Basically, it's rather that, like when I don't want to say something nasty, I just don't say it, but I don't lie often.
That's amazing. That's very inspiring, and I think you are truly a very unique person in the world of chess. Maybe you can sit here. I guess you have been.
There are many great people in the world of chess. I can drink some prayer.
Who do you think is someone that you enjoy a lot with?
I have many great friends, for example, in my chess club, Novy Bor chess club, like Mateusz Bartel, Pentala Harikrishna, Ivan Nguyen, Petr Boleslav, our team captain, and many others. Basically, we have a great atmosphere in the team, so that one is looking forward to team meetings, because Mateusz makes some jokes there, I make jokes, Harry makes jokes, and like these other people also, and not to hurt the others, but just to laugh a bit and to have good atmosphere. So it's great, and I think it's part of the story of the success, because we have often been among the favorites, but we have like great records. There were some editions of the European Club Cup which did not go so well. After all, it's just 7 rounds, a bit random and like this, but in general we have done better than expected. The team has won it 3 times. First time it was sensation. It was a shock, and we were also lucky, but we won it 2 more times. One time it was very convincing. The last time it was deserved, although there were some lucky moments, but with so many strong teams, it's hard to win it without luck.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Novy Bor team. Now I know more players in the team, but at some point I just read about the team bonding, how wonderful it is. You have Czech players, Polish players, Indian players.
Yes.
It's a very nice mix.
Yes. Actually, in the Czech Extra League, we are mostly winning, but some people criticize us like that we have most money, and that we are not a real team. That there are so many people coming from other countries, but I mean, they are members of the team. The team composition is relatively stable. We have great atmosphere there. So we are a real team like this, and I feel that quite well. Actually, several team members had offers to play the European Club Cup for other team for more money, and they mostly declined it.
Wow.
Yes, so
that just shows the bonding of
Yes.
the team. Recently in the world of chess, we see that things are moving in the direction of, freestyle chess, and people are playing that. You yourself have been very, very good at it. Chess 960,
yes,
I think.
I don't know if I'm so very, very good. Basically, the fact is that I was quite good at it, although even at the times where very few people were very good at it. I mean, I understand that there have always been stronger players than me, but if I was interested in Fischer random chess. I have been interested in Fischer random chess since like 2004. I played my first tournament in 2005. I played often in Pardubice. Back then the tournament was even strong because there was a great chess festival, Czech Open. Nowadays it's a bit smaller. I mean, back then it was bigger and stronger, and the Fischer random tournament was often quite strong, and I mostly did there well. I was more often winning than not, although I also had some bad results, and it's inevitable. And then I also played some tournaments abroad. Then I had a period for several years where I did not play any tournament because just the tournament in Pardubice was not so strong anymore and was overlapping with my other chess activities. Tournament in Mainz was no longer there. It was there until 2009 or 10, I think. 2009 for Fischer random and 2010 Rapid only. But there had been several editions before, and now it's a bit unfortunate that the big boom for Fischer random chess came exactly at the time when my results went a bit down. So,
but do you intend to play more? Like, do you feel like playing?
Yes, I feel like playing Fischer random chess, and especially after my recent performances in strong round-robin classical tournaments, it's more motivating to play Fischer random chess because I prepare for those classical games a lot, and I still don't get any advantage with white. I still sometimes struggle a lot with black, and I have many uneventful draws nowadays, which is, I mean, one needs some relaxation also, but I mean, I prepare for those games and I need to find some good moves, but still it feels that in Fischer random chess I can play more contentful games, and in this respect it can be good, especially for the top players, because the opening theory is a big burden for many of us. So I think it's good. There are some positions which are somewhat weird, but I like them. I mean, there are some maybe 20 to 30 starting positions which are really unpleasant for black, but not like lost, as some critics of Freestyle or Fischer random chess or chess 960 say. Just those positions are considerably easier to play with white, but black can play them.
I'm actually looking forward to you playing more Fischer random freestyle chess. It would be great fun to see you in action.
If I play in form, it can be very nice.
Yeah, you might even be like much stronger than the best players right now. So
I think not really, but I think
it could be.
I think nowadays my form is a bit shaky, but say a year ago I was rated like 2,675, maybe sometimes even more, but I believe that back then I was equally strong as an average 2,725 player in Fischer random, because I was playing more of it, and like at least back then I was playing more of it. So it's a great that the new tour appeared. Somehow I think that players like Vladimir Fedosiev, who are really great in Fischer random chess, should get more chances, and some players rated 725 and slightly higher who had hardly played any FIDE random chess should have bit fewer privileges, but I think it's great that there are some events, some money. I mean, unfortunately nowadays it's big money for 2 decades of players and for 25 or maybe 30 players, and not so much for the others, but I believe that new sponsors, new organizers might appear, and that other players might profit from it as well.
What's your take in general on like money? Because it's important, but how do you see it as a professional chess player who's trying to make a living out of chess? How important is it for you to make money out of chess?
I mean, money is not primary for me, but it has been changing throughout my life. Basically, when I was young, we needed to save money to, for example, play those virtuous chess championships and like this. And I was also taught to save money, and maybe I have even overdone it. So I was a little greedy child, and not greedy that I would like all the money to take it, but I was like mean that I was not willing to spend too much. Basically, I was not like trying to get all the money, but was not happy spending it. But then it changed somehow, that I learned to spend money, to donate on good cases, and to spend more money also, like to feel more comfortable, to make people around me feel more comfortable. For example, when I meet some friends, some small gifts and like this, just like this. So I think I have learned something in this respect. I believe that I'm still able to spend significantly less money if good reason for it appears. Basically, when I was around 20, I was already quite strong and not really focused on money, so I played for really little, and some people even criticized me for that. Maybe they had some reason, but I think it was part of my success that back then I was not really focused on money, and I was focused on chess, focused on study, but not caring about money and about so many other problems in the world. So I was doing really well in chess. And gradually I started to care about more of those things. So now I'm caring more to get adequate money, not like asking for as much as possible, but basically when there are two events which are the same in every respect, which is just an illusion, of course, and one has more money, other has less money, I will go for more money. But I mean, when there are some reasons to prefer less money, some relevant reasons, I might do that. So I'm not obsessed with money, and basically I was like earning money and not spending much of it in order not to be in order to be able not to care about money too much.
To lead a simple life.
Yeah, yes, say simple life, but so not to become crazy rich, but in order not to be forced to care about money too much. And basically during the pandemic it was still tough, because before the pandemic I was earning like, I don't know what was average income in the country, but say 3 times more than the average income. And during the pandemic it was like 2 times less than the average income, so like crazy. And then this Queen's Gambit with Beth Harmon came, and suddenly media again realized that there was quite a strong chess player, and they treated me like a star, inviting me somewhere and like this, and I was earning half of the average income. I had no tournaments, it was during pandemic, so it was a very specific situation and hard to handle. Basically it helped me that I had money, so did not have to care about it that much. Also with pandemic it was very specific, because the country was affected a lot, and also some relationships between people, luckily not with my dearest and nearest people, but basically it was like difficult. and very specific. So I also was more spending maybe during the pandemic, also on some good cases, but less earning. But nowadays I'm earning money again and spending also. So basically I think I have a relatively good approach to money nowadays. I of course still want to earn some money in tournaments, but I play also primarily because I like playing chess, which doesn't mean that I would like all of my games. It had been more interesting and less work on the opening before, but okay, it might become better again, and I definitely don't mind earning money. It feels nice, but I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not going for money at any cost.
You know, David, when the CZ Cup used to happen in Czech Republic, you've played against some of the best players in the world. If I'm not mistaken, you beat Korchnoi in that match one-on-one.
Yes.
Then you drew with Anatoly Karpov. You beaten Nigel Short. So in a way, you were like showing great results against the best players in the world. I'll come to it. The question from this is that what do you think stopped you from becoming, let's say, the absolute best in the world, reaching top 5 in the world and so on?
Frankly speaking, I think I was never good enough to finish in top 5 in the world. But basically with the matches it was like that. It started with 2-game matches, which is nice for publicity, nice and like this, but you don't learn so much from them. And also at some point I started losing like every match, even when the opponents were similarly strong, even when they were slightly weaker than me. So I was joking, and it's actually true that I'm the Czech player who has lost most matches, and maybe even in the whole world. I have like one of the top places because I was playing many of those matches, but often right after the French league, unprepared and sometimes tired, and I often did poorly there. That I was unprepared, it was often my own fault. So my results were not so great, but it's true that I was really promising around the age of 21. But okay, first of all, I think I was never like a player who should be in top 5, because there was always Magnus Carlsen, 5 years younger, but still since a certain time very strong, then extremely strong. Levon Aronian, 1.5 years or 2 years older than me, and most of the time shining. There were several other players, I mean, from older generation, from slightly younger generation, but I think I had potential to reach top 10, and not for long, but for some time, and have not used this potential. But basically, there were several reasons. I studied at the university, finished at 25. I mean, normally it should be in 24 because it's expected to last for 5 years, but it's common that people study longer. And actually, I even studied enough subjects for those 6 years. So it was not that I would like study less. I was just passing some exams which I did not need, and postponed some important exams which I needed. And actually this mathematical logic was quite tough. Some subjects were quite tough. I mean, I was much more talented as a chess player than as a logician or mathematician. So, or maybe I had talent, but something was missing. I was not solving puzzles so well. I was not so enthusiastic, not spending so much time on it. I don't know, but something was missing, and it was not like that I would be a bad student, but I was not a great student either. I finished it after 6 years. I learned a lot when it comes to languages, for example, even at the university. It gave me a lot. I don't regret going there, but basically I believe if I focused on chess since the beginning, and that if my parents wanted to make me a world champion like this, I could to some extent repeat Fischer's way, but just to not reaching that high and not reaching that low in the world outside chess. But basically I could finish reach like, for example, top 7 in the world and then go crazy and like this, but basically it's not such a promising prospect. So I'm glad that I studied. I also met other clever people, learned also something else, and then forgot everything. and like this. And I also felt the pressure was too intense when I was in top 15. I was overrated. Okay, I was 21-year-old, perhaps overrated, but good. But somehow when I did well in some tournament, media started asking me for interviews, and I was still studying, and it was tough, tiring, and also there was a period when I had too many subjects at the university, and some external factors came. I mean, my mother had some problems, so I needed to do more housework, for example. Luckily it became better again, but somehow it was tough, and those years until 25 might be the best years for a chess player nowadays. And I was also not mentally so stable, and also with my health, I mean, it has never been too bad. I have just some minor problems like mild asthma and like this, but a few minor problems which might occasionally be unpleasant. I'm not the most stable person either, and I was also when I was studying at the secondary school and at the university, I was playing some tournaments, of course fewer than afterwards, but just to make up for those absences, I was coming to the school. Otherwise, basically, whenever I could, although I had some individual study plans, so I could miss some lectures if I wanted, but I was coming even when I was ill and like this. And it's not such a great idea to do this for 10 years, because then you might get some chronic problems, like with some, for example, inflammations and like this. I mean, I'm generally healthy, but somehow I think I could be a bit more healthy, a bit healthier if I had taken more rest at time. So that's it, basically.
Wow, that's amazing, David. Thank you for sharing so many details. Also, I have read about it that sometimes health issues have cropped up for you, and that has impacted a bit of your play, but still you're always there, smiling, always fighting, playing hard, and it's amazing.
Yes, I think I'm not really ill. I mean, many players had much bigger health problems, and like this, I have some minor health problems which sometimes might appear, sometimes might exceptionally cost me some half a point or something, but generally no big problems. And also I wanted to tell that I was not really, because of this, that it was like the pressure felt too high, I was not really so much eager to get like to top 10 when I was in top 20 or 30, like this. I just wanted to finish university, was happy staying in top 20, 30. Basically, when I fell down a bit, I started to work harder to come back and like this. But I was not so much focused on getting significantly higher, and was like writing a blog, and which was quite good at the time. But then I lost enthusiasm because there was some trolling, and basically when you do this for your joy and for fun, basically, and it is no fun, then I sort of stopped. But
does online trolling and stuff affect you, because it's become such a normal thing in the world? When people post something online, there are some videos, people start writing comments below it. Does that impact you?
I think it impacted me a lot when this started, when I encountered it first. It was tough for me. I'm not the most stable person. Then it became, I have grown used to it to some extent, but still it can sometimes affect me from time to time. It's unpleasant. But in some special cases, let's say. And basically, but mostly I don't have social media. I'm not following the discussions so much. I mean, sometimes I take part in some discussions, but not too much, not for too long.
Do you not feel left out?
Rarely, but sometimes I can. And as for this, also in 2015, which was probably my peak the peak of my career. I mean, I had maybe even slightly better results in 2006, but in 2015 I also played too much at times, had some bad results, but generally was playing really well. I mean, the circumstances were not exactly optimal for my career, so it was surprising that I did well in spite of the circumstances then. And actually I only started working seriously on openings not much before, and only learned how opening files should what opening files should look like afterwards, maybe in 2016, thanks to Pentala Harikrishna. So basically that's it. So I had quite some assets in chess. I have them also, but they did not. They were not there all at the same time. If they were, I could, for example, reach top 10 for a moment, even without working much more. I mean, much more than I did, but somehow it did not combine like this. And ironically, nowadays I'm maybe working more on chess than before. At least I'm also playing online relatively a lot, and I was not playing online almost at all until 2020 or 2019. So basically nowadays I'm working more because I don't want to fall too deep down. There are many aspiring young players. I understand that many of them will overtake me gradually, but I don't want to drop too quickly, too low and like this. So I'm working on my chess. I have some nice results, I have some bad results, that's life. And I think it's one of the challenges for aging chess players to cope up with this, because champions are used to winning, they are great, and when they are no longer playing at their best level, they can retire, they have enough money, and basically they can then do some other chess activity. I also consider that I should do, for example, training and play a bit less, and like this gradually, maybe after turning 41 or like this, 40 is too close to do this. So we will see what happens. Basically, I consider it also because nowadays it has become more difficult to earn money by playing chess in the Czech Republic, because the country has become richer, which is good for us, and the incomes from chess have not become bigger. And also the competition has become bigger. So it's less attractive than it used to be, and also some colleagues, some strong grandmasters who were professionals for many years are starting normal jobs, more common jobs nowadays. So
yeah,
it might be some challenge. I need to rethink what to do when I will no longer play that well, but I think I am still playing quite well, maybe even better than 10 years ago, but there is just more theory. The other players are playing better as well, and it's increasingly difficult to surprise the opponents in the opening.
Got it. So going forward now, David, what do you see panning out? You will continue playing, you will teach, what will happen?
I surely want to continue playing. The thing is that I should maybe later gradually play less and maybe start teaching. I actually did some teaching already before, but
You like it? You like to teach?
I mean, I'm better as a player than as a teacher, but I can be good at certain aspects of teaching when the audience is really interested in chess and talented and able to follow my speech, my fast speech and like this. I was also taking part in Surya Ganguly's pro-chess training during the pandemic mostly. I mean, when I started getting more tournament invitations again, I stopped. Maybe I will come back one day, but basically I am primarily a player. Okay, in the past few years, my play has become more boring in some elite events, so maybe I might rethink this. We will see what happens, but I enjoy playing chess. At least I enjoy playing Rapid and Blitz when I'm not out of form. It is also another challenge for aging players, because when I'm out of form nowadays, playing Blitz becomes extremely difficult.
Right.
It's losing on time, blundering, mouse slipping when it's online.
It's not easy.
Yes.
David, thank you so much for your time, for inviting us home, for giving us this special time that you have to talk to you. I think we had a brilliant time.
Thank you very much for the interview. I hope that you liked it and that your viewers will like it as well.
Absolutely. And lastly, David, I want to ask you one question. Maybe it's if it is not great, we will cut it out of it. But it is something that I had on my mind, and I want to ask you. Maybe you can let me know. There is something that if you would like to mention, like about being on the spectrum, the autism or something. Is that something that you would wish to talk about?
We can. I probably have Asperger syndrome, which is like typical for those slightly eccentric geniuses. I mean, not that everybody would be super clever. I'm not a genius. I mean that those are people who are very much focused and concentrated on one thing, on their hobby. They often have some unusual hobbies like chess, mathematics, or like this, and can be really good at their field, and this Asperger syndrome might help them to be good at their field, but they often have more difficulties, find it more difficult to understand other people, understand their schoolmates and like this. But I was lucky with my schoolmates. I was also attending some mathematical schools, so there are many people similar to me in this respect, like with quite some mathematical talent and like this. And I mean, in my youth, I was like some small asocial child, if I exaggerate it a little bit, and I needed to learn a lot afterwards to understand the others better, like this. But I think
you did it. How did you do that?
I mean, I did because I wanted to have good relationships with other people and like to be friendly with other people. It's better to cooperate than to compete. It's better to be friendly with other people than not to be friendly with them. Wow. So basically, like this, and I learned quite a lot in my teens, perhaps as a teenager, and I mean. It was not always easy, but I think also I'm not officially diagnosed with this Asperger syndrome, but basically when I was young, this expression was not very well known, really unknown, and I only learned about it when I was adult. And maybe it would have helped me back then. I don't know, but probably I have this Asperger syndrome, but there are people who have more, who have more symptoms of it, and I mean, my fascination for chess is unusual, but it helped me to get where I am. I, in many respects, like where I am. It's not that I would like all the aspects of my life, but I think I was happy in many respects, and that's it.
Thank you for sharing this.
Lucky in many respects.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you for sharing this. I hope that it's useful for others who watch this. And yeah, it's always been a great pleasure interacting with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening or afternoon.